Hello. Good morning. It's a wonderful, marvelous day. It's Nurse Cola. I just got off from work and I am feeling great. Actually, I'm feeling drowsy. I'm about to go to sleep. um, Let me see. I just worked 3 days. I'm working one more tonight. But I looked on the calendar. You know how they have that calendar where they tell you all your holidays are. And if you are a nurse, you know how we feel about holidays. We go to work on holidays because we get paid time and a half to double time. So I realized I wasn't on Monday. I have 2 days off, Monday and Tuesday, and I realized that Monday was a holiday. I don't remember what holiday it is. I don't know if it has to do with Black history or I don't remember what holiday it is. But I don't care. I wouldn't care if it's Christmas. I wouldn't care if it's New Year, whatever holiday it is. I was like, ooh, I need to go get that money. So I have 2 days off. So I decided to ask them. I'm working Sunday night. So I'm working Sunday night from 7 p.m. to 7 in the morning. So starting 12 Sunday night, which is Monday night, till Monday morning, I'll have 4 hours of regular pay, and then from 12 to morning, which is something like for 5 hours, for 7 hours, 7 or 8 hours, something like that, I'll get double time. You know what I'm saying? I'll get double time. Woo, woo, woo. I get 16-hour pay for 8 hours. And then now I am trying to see if I could offer to work. Well, I can go through working the whole night, 12 hours, and then work the whole day. So what I'm trying to ask is, supervisor, can I come in on Monday from 3 to 11? That's 8 hours, still of the same day, where I get double pay, and then I'll get another 8 hours where I get paid for 2 days. Why wouldn't everybody want to be a nurse? Don't you want to be a nurse? People, whenever you tell nurses that you want to be a nurse because you want to get paid, nurses get really offended because, for one, it makes it sound like anybody can do it. But it's just like med school. Like, if you walk around telling everybody that anybody can do med school, a doctor might be offended. You know, med school doesn't take that long, considering all the time we have to do other trashy things with our lives. But to become a good doctor, a doctor who's well experienced has told me that it takes an average 17 years. So that's a long time, because if you have a baby, by the time they're 17, you know what you put into them. And that's when you can say, yeah, I know what I'm doing. I'm a doctor. You know, I know what I'm doing, you know. So nursing is similar, not necessarily the same thing, but it's kind of similar. You invest a lot of time in it. And the thing about nursing is that it has like a million steps to it, and between step 1 and 2, there's a lot of time and things you have to do to go from one step to another. Like, for example, I thought when I graduated high school, everybody told me that I could just go to school and be a nurse. And just like everybody else, I was like, anybody can do it. Especially I could do it. I took all the AP classes. I think I'm, not smart, but if I want to do something, I could do it because I'm an African and Africans love education and we're used to hardcore education. So I thought anybody could do it. I could do it too. Wrong. So I took my prereqs. I struggled there because I've always been the kind of person, even when I take AP classes, I'll study last minute, do everything last minute, and still survive, you know what I'm saying? And I still take pride in taking AP classes. But that's the kind of AP student that I was, because also I was involved in a million activities, and I was a full-time mom because I call them my kids, my sisters, because my parents were working double time almost every day. So I was kind of responsible for my sisters. I was doing stuff like going from one city to another city in the morning to take them to take a different. We would go like at 5 a.m. So we'd get up like at 4 something. At 5 a.m., I'd take my sisters to go to another city to take the school bus there because we wanted to go to a certain school. So we went through all that drama, and I was a child doing parent things. Um, and I was okay with that. I would take them, then I would go to school. But that was my life for a while. Then my sister was born when I was 15. Then I became a full-time mom again because my parents were working double time and they were in school full time and they were doing accelerated programs. So I wasn't about to try to complain because we lived in a two-bedroom. In Africa, we lived in an 11-bedroom. So we lived like kings and queens. Then we come here, we crash in a two-bedroom because that's how it is for foreigners. When you first come, you just can't be. If you used to be a president, it doesn't matter. You're going to go down and start from the ground up. So my sisters and I were crashed in a two-bedroom when we were used to having like two bedrooms each. And then we crashed in one bedroom and there was four of us and there was a baby. It was a rough time. I hadn't been that broke in my life, so I learned to get along and still appreciate my life and still live in fabulosity with my 5 outfits or whatever. And so, but I became a mom. I got a really close bond with my little sister. And so, but I still aim to graduate with good grades, graduate AP classes, and I had a million activities under my belt. I still did a million hours of community service, so I've kind of always, as silly as I can come off, I've kind of always been like a child living in an adult's life. And it's because my parents always told me that I have great responsibility because that's the way they grew up. They grew up taking care of their billions of sisters and brothers and they still do to this day. So to me, that was the norm because that's what they did. And I looked up to them. I never looked up to my peers. I looked up to my parents and that's the way my parents did it. So I was trying to be like them, right? So, yeah. So anyway, by the time I graduated high school, I applied and of course I got to Cal State and I did get accepted in their honors program, but I didn't keep it up. There was no need because I took college classes in high school. So by the time I started college, I already had 2 years of college done. So there was no need for me to start with their honors program because I was already more advanced than their honor students. Anyways, so what happened was when I got there, I found God, but I just got really, that's the time when I started feeling really physically weak. That first year of college, I gained like 60 pounds because there was no more PE. I was free from PE, high school PE, but I gained a lot of weight from it. I moved out of my parents. I started eating crazy because my mom wasn't cooking me natural foods. Anyways, so about nursing school. I did my classes. I was kind of unmotivated for like a year. And then I got it together. I got my classes done. But entering a program was always hard. You apply and there's 500 applicants. There's 40 spots at Cal State and you're not the most qualified because you don't have 4.0 GPA and you don't have experience and blah, 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 blah. Basically, there's a long list if you're not good enough. If you do this, if you do that, then we'll accept you. So I went through feeling like I have to do community service. I have to get experience. So I became a CNA. I started working as a CNA. I did registry, so I made good money. I actually made nurses money as a CNA. So it kind of motivated me. And at times it didn't motivate me because I was already making good money. But I just kept applying to nursing schools. Then I had problems with financial aid. They said my parents made too much money for them to help me. So eventually I decided to apply for communities. I got into a community. I did 1 semester there. Then I applied to other RN programs. I got into one program. Then I left my LVN program, went to the RN program, was in there for a year. Then the board decided to shut the school down. Can you imagine? I was crushed. So it was just, I've been through drama. So I come out of that school. I'm like, what am I going to do now? I can't go, you just can't go back to an LVN program if you quit it. Nursing schools get really offended and they're not forgiving if you leave them. So I applied to another LVN school and lucky for me, they gave me some credit. So I was able to graduate with my friends like Melissa. Hey, Melissa. And after that, I worked as an LVN. Then I realized it was too little money. like I said, when I was a CNA, I made nursing money, so it wasn't that different from my nursing money. And I was like, oh, I can't make this for too long. So I I literally got a list of RN schools in the whole state. And me and my mom would take trips. We visited so many schools. We went to San Diego, we went to LA. I mean, we went to the highways and byways, try to get into these schools, right? And so, oh, yeah. But it was a lot of drama. So finally, I found this one school and I applied and they accepted me. And, some of the troubles I ran into, they were like, oh, like I tried to go to West Coast and West Coast wanted me to redo. I had over 200 college units. They wanted me to redo them because they wanted me to pay them. And I'm like, they were saying something like your general education expired. You know anybody whose general education expired? I'm like, people come from abroad with like stuff they did from 20 years ago and schools accept them. I was like, what are you talking about? And then some of them were like, yeah, I had a school that told me I never did math 101 because I did math 102 and 102 is more advanced than 101. I had a school, I think I was talking to the school secretary who was ignoramus as heck. She told me that I wasn't qualified to go to their school because I did a more advanced math than what they require. But I did the other math when I was still in high school. So she wanted me to basically go repeat my high school work that's lower than my already completed college work so that I could get into a nursing program, and those classes are called prereqs, meaning that it's something they want you to know before you go into nursing. But I had done it when I was a child, and I was like in more advanced math courses, and I guess it offended them and they wanted me to repeat that. They did the same thing to my dad, who's a medical doctor, had done a billion science courses, and they wanted him to do the basic anatomy and physiology. You are telling a doctor you want them to repeat the basic anatomy and physiology that somebody who's only taken Bio 100 has taken and has no other science background, and you are telling a medical doctor that. People are so ignoramus, it's unbelievable. It's even unbelievable. So, anyway, I went through a lot of drama like that. Each school has a million different requirements. Like, for example, for Loma Linda, they want you to have, I think, 19 courses. I think they have some options of taking some of them in there. And I actually had all of them. I met with them. I mean, I went through so many schools, so much drama trying to get this nursing done. And finally, I found a school, but here's the catch. The school is in North California. It's 9 hours away from my house. So I made a decision to pack my stuff. I'm not going to be able to work, and God worked it all out. It all got worked out, but I had to worry about stuff like, renting a place, basically like making living arrangements along with going to school. I think they had dorms, but I cannot handle dorms. I'm just that kind of person. I just cannot handle dorms because I'm a person who's very self-disciplined. So when someone gives me a rule, it's hard because I'm already disciplined in various ways. I don't go out and party and, so if you give me a rule, I feel like it ruins my life because I'm already a self-disciplined. It's why the things that I want to do that are me, I really want to do them because I don't get to do a whole lot of things anyway because of the way that I choose to live my life. So anyway, I got into that nursing program. It was fast track. I was with this awesome, awesome people that we went to school with. They're really some amazing people. Some of them, it was hard to get used to because we were from two different cultures. I am African, and on top of that, I'm Californian, and on top of that, I am a city girl. And they was country, some of them. So we were really different. So we had to work it out. And so that was a challenge. Not to mention, how would you like to go to a school, find out you is the only Black person in your program? Blackness is a culture. And I'm not saying this to make anybody feel bad. It's not nobody's fault. I'm just saying that was a condition. But I've always done things like that where I'm like, I'm the only Black person. I was the only Black person always in my AP classes till my senior year when there was a girl who was mixed. But I think of mixed people as half white. I don't think of them as black. And I'm not saying that they're not black, but I'm saying that they are black and they're white. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, that was rough. We traveled a long way to go to school, sometimes up to 2 hours. So that was rough. You know, we did that for a year. We all felt like quitting at one time or another. Some people are coming from Oregon to come to our school. That was rough on them. Imagine that you have a family and you have to like live in the city that you're going to school to, and you're a married person with children. Does that make any sense? So we all made great personal sacrifices to come there. But we graduated. It was so rough on me. I was so physically tired that I actually wanted to quit 2 weeks before I graduated. But what happened was I called my parents. I said, yes, hello. It's Cola, non-RN. I'm going to go and quit because I'm too stressed out and I can't handle this 2 weeks before graduating. So my parents said, if you quit, you ain't coming back here. I was like, oh, I was going to be homeless. It's like that. So I'm glad they put some African sense into me because I finished and I graduated. And then, so I gained like 40 pounds in nursing school, and I thought that that's where most of the stress was. Then I was trying to do the NCLEX, and I'm the kind of person I like to know everything when I study. I literally stress myself out trying to interpret what someone's saying, how they're saying it, what it means to them, what it means to me, what the reality is, what the perceived reality is. Like, I go insane. I remember I think I drove everybody insane in my class because I had so many questions because I was trying to figure it out in my mind. Like, what do they mean? Like, well, this page said this, that page said that, and then the teacher said this. What am I supposed to believe? Who do I believe? This is unbelievable. So, yeah. So I gained 60 more pounds studying for the NCLEX. Yes, I did. And I found myself at the end just weighing so much. And then after I passed the NCLEX, I managed to take off some weight. And then when I got my first job in nursing, it was in oncology, med-surg oncology. A lot of experience and a lot of stress, and again a lot of dealing with just different stuff because it was Texas and all black people over there and all black person on my floor. I deal with these situations all the time. I'm always like the only black person or the only city person or something like that. Just somebody always different, the only African, you know. So everywhere I go, I always have a problem merging with people, my culture, their culture, and I insist on being me because I feel like I shouldn't have to be sorry that I'm African. I shouldn't have to be sorry that I'm a city girl. I shouldn't have to be sorry that I'm darn colorful. You know? The sun is very bright. How come nobody gets out and say, how come the sun is not wearing dark colors today? Y'all ever complain about the sun looking so bright and shining? Anyways, so yeah, but that is why I went through so much drama to complete nursing, to obtain training, and then, you know, it was like a billion steps. And you know, when you graduate out of nursing school, it's like it takes some time to take the NCLEX, it takes some time to do background check, and everything takes so much time in between. And then to go from a California license to a Texan license, and then I had to come back and get another California license. It's always like stuff that's so time consuming, that has a million steps to it, you know. And you know, nursing jobs, especially in acute care, you got to do a billion tests. There's a lot of educational requirements. Trust me, it's so, if you're a nurse, you know, y'all, you know. I mean, nobody told me it was like this when I was like, I want to be a nurse. So it's why I'm very proud of my nursing, because it's something that consumes your life. And then when we go to work, it's so much drama. Nursing is weird because they don't tolerate mistakes. They just pretend you're a god and you can fix everything and you can fit 500 things to do in a very short time and keep the person alive and be omnipresent and be there to see all the patients and all the drama they're going through. And there's no tolerance for cracks of anything that might fall through because you are a god, because you are licensed. And then some nurses love to have drama because they love to mistreat their young because they feel like, I went through too much and I'm going to make sure somebody else goes through too much. And so, like it for me, when I got my first nursing job, they were learning to use computers for charting. So nobody was focused on me and my mistakes because I was feeling like when you first start, you just feel like, I don't know who I am, what I'm doing. I know I went to school, I have some knowledge, but I don't know. I need to ask somebody. I got trained by fabulous LVNs and I love them. So everything I know is from them. Everywhere I've ever been, I got trained by LVNs and they were very good at their skills, especially in Texas because LVNs do everything RNs do in Texas. There really isn't any difference except for RN assessments and some IV push medications, but everything else they do, we do. We all do the same thing. So whenever I had a question, I went to them. And I had some great friends who were there for me, like Josie, who has invited me to her holidays with her family, so I never got to be lonely in Texas, away from my family. So I went through too much drama to obtain my license and keep it and get experience and get good jobs. When I After being in Texas for 2 years, I came back to California. I had to get a job in LA, travel an hour and a half just to go to work and do my 12.5 hours and then travel 1 hour back and having practically a 15-hour day almost every day, if you can imagine that. I don't know how people who have families do it, but to me, I call it all a blessing from God because it's trained me. But it's where you can see how physicians have their own dealings, but we have our own dealings are different and separate. But yet we do have them. It's not easy to be a nurse, it's not undoable, but it's just one of those things that it's you can do, but it's like driving into a storm. You'll survive. Good luck. Have fun. You'll break some legs. You'll lose your mind. You'll be so scared you'll have a heart attack. But you can do it. It's doable. And so, but I would say everything for me has been God walking with me because it's been hard. Learning scientific things when you speak two other languages, not the easiest thing. But, with God, all things are possible. I'm here today because God makes it possible. He has doubled my initial nursing salary, and I still make some money on top of that. So I entered the 6-figure range this year. I'm very proud of that. I'm very happy about that and grateful and blessed because He has done that. He has given me the ability to work hard. He has entrusted me with a good job. I go to work and I feel like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I get paid to do this. This is so amazing. I love my job. There's some people that complain about jobs for whatever the reasons, but I have no reason to complain. Some things have been hard, but there are people who are starving. There are people who want to work and can't work. Maybe some physical illness, maybe some other situations, maybe that they're raising kids. I get to do this and God will bring all the other. He's always blessed me. I never felt like I'm not blessed or taken care of or abandoned. Even when I was going through my hard trials, I never felt abandoned. I always felt the presence of God. He talks to me. I dream and He dreams with me. He talks to me. He covers me. Every time there's a situation, I pray about it. I give it to Him and He handles it. So my God is very alive. As you can see, my God has been very alive. He took half of my body off of me. And as you can tell, I don't look too bad. Nurse Cola. So, it's why I glory in my life so much because I have been through so much. If you knew me when I was big, oh my gosh, I was always tired. I was like borderline anemic and was always tired. Just felt like a nap. But I was always fashionable. There's no excuse not to be fashionable. No. But what I'm trying to say is God has gotten me through so much. He has made the impossible possible. And I still have great things, expectations from Him. And I'm waiting to just see them manifest. So I'm very excited. And I just want to wish you people a great day. It was just one of those days when I felt like a small itty bitty speech. Because I want you to know What makes a testimony is that you go through a test. If there's no test, how could there be a testimony? And it says that we overcome by the blood of the lamb and the word of our testimony. So when I tell you what I've overcome, I'm prophetically speaking into your life to let you know that God has been there for me. He is no respecter of persons. He will be there for you the same way if you put your mind to do something, especially something that He's designed for you. Because in Jeremiah, it tells us that God has a plan for everybody. He says, I know the plans that I have for you. And then I believe it's in Jeremiah chapter 1. He tells him, he said, before you were in your mother's belly, I knew you. I appointed you a prophet unto the nations. So we are predestined. He says before the creation of the world, the lamb was already sacrificed for us. Basically, all your drama, your sins, your iniquities, that stuff don't matter because God made provision for it before He even created the world. He knew what you were going to do. I mean, what an amazing, awesome God who knows what He's doing, that He makes preparations for you. And in the Psalms, it says, you will hear a voice. It will say, here's the way, walk in it. It's a whisper. God speaks to your mind and He speaks to your heart. And if you're attentive, you'll hear Him. So I always tell my friends, I'm like, grab you a journal because God's speaking to you. God's speaking to you. And I remember when I decided to listen, I found that He speaks to me because He'll tell me things in my journal. And all I have to do is wait and they'll happen accordingly. And actually, one of the things that would happen is I used to know the Bible before I read it. And I would call it revelation. I was like, oh, I just got it. And it used to happen, especially when I'm doing dishes, because I'd be doing house chores. And when you're thinking about God and scriptures and you're doing stuff, but your mind's like, you're doing stuff, but you're not. You're in this world, but not of this world, not paying attention to this world. Your mind is elsewhere. And before you know it, it's like He's just sending scrolls and words into you and you get it. And then later on, you'll be reading your Bible. You're like, this was in the Bible all along. So I started calling my friends. I was like, I is having me some revelations up in here because God tells me the Bible before I read it. Not everything, but some things that you just don't get. You just don't sit around and these ideas come to you. He'll break it down to me. And so actually a lot of my understanding comes before I even read what I'm supposed to be reading, and that's amazing. It's prophetic. It's awesome, I have a prophetic calling on my life. It's awesome. And I don't have to make it what it's not. I don't come and be like, thus saith the word of the Lord. I come from the great Lord, And so a lot of people do that, but it's not me. If I have a revelation, I'll tell you what it is. I'll share with you. I'll call you and be like, I have an insight on something. I want you to hear it because it might just bless you, and that's it. And a lot of it is not personal stuff. A lot of it is just divine revelations from the Bible, stuff that God wants His kids to know because it blesses us to have knowledge. Because He talks about how zeal should come from knowledge. And the more you know Him, the more you're intimate with Him, the more time you spend with Him, singing to Him, praising Him, doing what He wants you to do. He entrusts you with knowledge and wisdom. It says that the word of the Lord equips the men of God with everything that they need for godliness. Yet at the same time, He doesn't give everything to everybody. Everybody thinks that just because you have a Bible, He's talking to you. It ain't true. Because He talks about how it says Jesus spoke nothing without a parable, and He made it, even though He had billions of crowds following Him, He says, I know why you're following Him, me. God knows when you're following Him for some personal, crazy other stuff, or so you could go reveal something to somebody else. He knows your heart and He'll give it to you. He entrusts you with revelation. When you're like David and you have a heart after Him, it's not about being perfect. It's about seeking God with a right heart. What else am I missing? Yeah, if you seek God with the right heart, He'll talk to you. He'll reveal Himself to you. But I have a lot of hope in God. One of the things that God showed me in dreams is that He's going to transform my body some more. It's supernatural because it's not something that I can do in the flesh. He's given me some visions of my body transforming in such a way that I cannot go to a plastic surgeon and be like, hey, make me this. I can't even describe it to somebody, but I saw in dreams that He would make it so that I would reverse in aging. Now, You women know that that's important to us, even though we try to act like just because we're spiritual, that's not important. If it wasn't important, he wasn't going to give us a new glorified body that is just awesome in every way. Sick free, wrinkle free, glorious, shining like the stars, he said. You know, that's why he's going to give us. When Jesus got transfigured, he got transfigured. He was beautiful. He was glorious, you know. So stop trying to front and act like it makes you spiritual to look toed up. I'm like, we look toed up as a result of sin. And stop obsessing with looking natural, because sin is not natural. And as being ruined because of a sinful state is not natural. It's like having a cancer. It's not natural to have a cancer. You know, how come you don't get a cancer and tell your friends, oh, y'all, you better not have surgery. Keep it natural. Keep it real. Die, nigga, die. We don't do that, you know. So I don't understand why it's like, you know, people always ask me, I'm a beast, should I have surgery? I'm like, I think you should, but you're the final authority on that, because it's a life and death. And I'm like, and if you do it what you consider the natural way, to me, there's nothing natural. Us dealing with illnesses is not natural in any way. Taking a blood pressure pill is not natural. God didn't create you to live on blood pressure pills. Taking insulin shots is not natural. There's nothing natural about this world. So guess what? I'm going to do what I have to do to look pretty, be healthy. I don't care which way I do it, because none of the other things we're doing are natural on the real. It's just that we have these demonic principles where people make up doctrine. They tell you what they want you to believe. This is natural, this is unnatural, but it's all the same thing. It's all fake stuff. You know what I'm saying? Oh, okay. Okay. So, yeah, Eve resulted from Adam as a result of surgery. But if I want to take some fat that don't belong off of me, off of my body, that's not natural. People have children with surgeries, but they don't want to have surgeries to lose weight, because that's unnatural. But they're gonna birth children that were meant to come out of their vajayjay. They're gonna cut their stomach up and have these kids, and that's natural. We all know it's a natural, but who the heck cares? We need you to survive. We need you to live. And honestly, these are the times that we live in. The earth is getting old. The earth is getting jacked up. We're jacked up. Our health is jacked up. We used to live 1,000 years. Now we're lucky if we make it to 50 years. The average life expectancy for a doctor is 50 years. 50 some years. That's terrible and that's sad, but these are people who save lives. And it's like, physician, heal thyself. But that's the situation we're in. This is how much we stress them. This is the workload that we put on them. There's nothing natural about the way we're living, working 1 billion hours a day. You have to do what you have to do.